should let me love you forever, forever. I wanna love you. Will you let me love you forever, forever and a day, 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 day.
Well, hello. Happy Wednesday. We are doing Darcey and Stacey today. We couldn't do it yesterday because we had other things going on. So we are catching up on all things Darcey and Stacey, season 3, episode 5. Feed them to the Gators. Housekeeping real quick. Support the show. Bottom of the screen shows you where you can support the show. Shout out to C Cruz. I was looking for you, girl. I appreciate all your support. I appreciate you. I just appreciate everything about you. So shout out to C Cruz, as well as all my Patreon subscribers. There's a couple of new people. Welcome. I am excited to have you part of the family. And let's just jump right in because this episode was hilarious to me. A lot going on. So first of all, Darcey and Stacey are pure entertainment, like just straight being extra all the time. You're at the beach. I don't understand where your flip-flops are. It's not like you've never been to the beach before. So like you run, like Darcey running across the hot sand. And, you know, shout out to Shannon's kids because they're obviously, you know, little gentlemen in the making. One of them took off his flip-flops so Darcey can get through the sand. And then the other thing I was also noticing was, you know, when they do their to camera, Darcey's teeth, I think, are too big because she talks completely differently now. And it's distracting. Does anyone else feel that way? Like it's a bit distracting? Like what's happening with your teeth and why are you talking that way? But it distracted me. I was like, oh, see all this stuff that she's done to her teeth? Unnecessary. Like absolutely unnecessary. Anywho. They're all at the beach with Shannon. They're having a family beach day. Talking about the boat ride that they went on with Georgie and how the boat wasn't really like a yacht. It was more like Gilligan's Island, which I died of laughter. But Shannon is noticing that Georgie is trying to put an effort in the relationship and trying to bond with the girls. And I still have that question, you guys, like, why is he now just bonding with them? They've been together for over a year now. Why are you now starting to be like, hey, let me get to know Aspen and Aniko. Like, let me just do that right now. It's weird, right? Hey, Raydella. Hey, Olivia. Good to have you in the live chat, Olivia, for a few more days. So the other thing that Shannon brought up that I thought was interesting was that she sees similarities in Georgie and Darcey's ex-husband. They're both Eastern European. They're both younger, long hair, bodybuilder versus gymnast. And she's like asking Darcey, is that a tell for you? Is that something that is your weak point? And is that something that's triggering for you? You know, maybe what didn't work out in your first marriage triggers you in Georgie for you to like overreact on things. Now, here's the thing that you guys that I'm just not clear about is why is Georgie the only one in the hot seat? Like, why? Because I feel like Georgie and Florian are kind of the same person, except Florian has more of a chill attitude, right? He says less. I do think that that's part language barrier and part just his personality, but they're kind of the same dude. Am I the only one that thinks that? Olivia says, they mentioned Gilligan's Island. Did anyone think Florian was doing a Gilligan's Island with the hat? Facts. That's facts. We also learned that Darcey had been married for 8 years, but she had dated her ex-husband for 2 years. So in total, 10 years together. They have 2 kids together. And if you guys remember, they all used to live in Daddy's house together. So you can imagine her and her husband and her 2 kids, Stacey and her husband and her 2 kids, plus the dad. Like, the dad has to be a saint, as far as I know. Like, you know, Mike has to be a saint. They also realized some more similarities between her ex-husband and Georgie in the fact that they both lack dreams, both lack motivation, both were like financially challenged, and really didn't try to get ahead financially as a family. So it was like same qualities that she's seeing in Georgie right now. And then Stacey jumps in, and Stacey's like, Darcey's relationship is a mess, but I see that Georgie is making an effort. So I'm going to go ahead and say maybe this mess can be cleaned up. And again, I'm like, why do you always throw your sister under the bus? I feel like you should probably look at your own marriage and your own situation and figure out how you feel your situation is better than your sister's situation. Because as far as we can see, both of your partners don't work. You both support your partners in all that they do. And so you're paying the rent, you're paying the bills, you're buying the food, all the things. So how is it different? I'm trying to figure that out. And if anything, I would say that Stacey's situation is worse because Darcey can just walk away. That's just her boyfriend. If she's tired of it, she can walk away, but that's your husband. Yeah, you can walk away, but guess what? You're the American, so you're on the hook for at least 10 years because you have to financially support him anyways. It's very weird. It's very weird to me. I'm just trying to figure out why Georgie's on the hot seat and Florian is not. So Ray, who is Shannon's son, one of Shannon's son, and Aniko, they're the same age. They grew up together. They're talking about college and all the things. And then Aniko is really talking shit about the boat ride she went on and how she interrogated Georgie. And, when Ray asked about their past relationships, Aniko was like, well, my mom's past relationships were terrible. They were all in it for clout or for money. And then, as soon as they got the clout or the money, they bounced or my mom left them. And I think it's interesting every time she says that because we know exactly who she's talking about, right? There are two infamous exes. And I don't know, what do you guys think? Let me know in the live chat. Do you think do you agree with that assessment that both of those men used Darcey for clout? Because I'll tell you, they probably wouldn't be famous if it wasn't for Darcey. Anyways, we see the camera pans to the beach and they're playing volleyball and they have this little beach area, whatever. And my eyes focus directly on Florian. Florian's walking with his arms crossed, face all foul looking like he was mad. And I die of laughter because I was like, this dude is hilarious. So they end the beach day. The kids are going to stay the night at Shannon's house. And Darcey and Stacey and Florian and Georgie are going to have a barbecue on the beach. And they've invited Michael, he likes to be called. And Florian and Georgie are both skeptical of this Michael guy, right? Because Florian is sick of hearing his name. He wants to meet him face to face to make Stacey happy. But after this day, he's like, I'm never, no more again. I'm done. And I was like, I haven't heard that line for a bit because every single 90 Day Fiancé cast member, even all the spinoffs, you have to hear it at least once in the season where they're like, I'm done. I'm done. Crystal says, yes, 100% of her guys are clout chasers, but maybe that's her type. Maybe. We're seeing from this episode that she definitely has a pattern of men that she likes. And, that would be a whole different show. I could go so deep into the reasons why I think Darcey and Stacey choose the men that they do, but we'll go with that. Mandy said she Googled the X. X is 46 or 47. Darcey's listed as 47. So, not that much younger than I would suppose, because that seems like they're the same age. I'll have to research it, you guys, and get back to you. I'll find out. So, Florian and Georgie are like, we're not into meeting Michael. And I'm laughing about it. Now, meanwhile, they had planned to do this barbecue. And here's the thing. You planned to do a barbecue, but you didn't bring the supplies for a barbecue. So Georgie has to run to the bodega to get chicken and forks and plates and all the things to grill. And he starts a full-on fire. And then to camera, Darcey's like, you like playing with fire? Well, what about my hair and all the product that's in my hair? Hopefully you don't catch me on fire. Again, died of laughter. And then Michael arrives. Okay. Now I have all the questions about Michael. All the questions. First of all, how old is he? If he's known Darcey and Stacey for, what did they say, over 10 years, then he has to be at least in his 30s, right? And so I'm looking at the glow-in-the-dark plastic chain that he has on his neck that has like a lock on the bottom, the blue hair, and the pearl, these big pearl bracelet thingies. And he just had a lot going on, you guys. I was like, what? So what's this look like? Are you a raver from the 90s? Like, what's happening here? What look is this? What is this? And then so when he gets there, all I heard was a lot of noise. So everyone was talking at once. And I was like, what's the noise? It was just like, all of them. I was like, oh, this is annoying. It's just noise. So Georgie's not impressed. Georgie's like, what's going on with hair? It's really ugly, he says. He's never seen anything like this in his life. And then Florian's like, I have waited for this day, which I thought was hilarious. Michael comes in hot, you guys. And I have to tell you that I agree with Georgie and Florian. I felt like Michael came in too hot. He came in not minding his own business. You're just meeting these men for the first time. And by the way, where have you been? We're on season 3. Apparently you've been their lifelong friend and we're just now meeting you and you're coming in hot. You're coming in with all the attitude, guns a-blazing, talking all the shit. And I get it. Like, you want to be like their friend and the protector, but like, where have you been this whole time to be their friend and the protector? And all of a sudden you're here doing the most. Just doing the most. So he's coming in hot. And he's like saying how, you men, you have to treat these women as goddesses because they are the goddesses out here. And Georgie's not liking how he came in, how he's giving orders, how he's saying, sit down. I want to talk to you and I want to talk to you and I want to talk to you. Georgie's like, just chill out. I'm grilling. I have things to do, and it's true. If you think about it, you don't mess with a man in his grill. Everyone knows that. That is etiquette 101. You don't mess with a man in his grill because he's grilling. That's his thing. And that's what Georgie was doing. So Michael could have came in, introduced himself. He brought the drinks, chilled out, got to know the guys. But no, that is not what happened. So while Georgie is grilling, Michael wants Georgie to like let his guard down, sit down, all the things. And I'm like, well, why would he let his guard down? Because you literally came in blasting and demanding and saying that these grown-ass men should be doing X, Y, and Z, when really, like, what do you even know? Yeah, exactly. Raydella said, where was he with Tom and with Jesse? Facts. Like, you're coming in hot, and what? We haven't seen you at all. And you're saying all these things. If you think that these two men are toxic in these women's lives, you should have seen some of their past ex-men partners. What about them? Anyhow, Florian's getting irritated too, because Michael keeps calling him sir. He's like, stop calling me sir. I'm not sir. I'm just a normal guy. Michael didn't even remember his name. So you're such good friends with Darcey and Stacey, you don't remember their partner's name. So Florian, he's like, Flor, and Florian's like, it's Florian. And he's like, Mike, right? And he's like, no, it's Michael. And Florian's like, same thing. And he's like, I'm not here like border control to check, your first name and your last name. I died of laughter because Florian has all the great one-liners. And Michael's like, bro, just respect my name. If I said my name was Michael, respect that. I didn't say it was Mike. It's Michael. So let's just like start all over. I'm Michael, you're Florian. I was like, oh, see, you're doing all the most. All the most. So he's doing all that. And Florian's like, Stacey and Darcey, they want us to be friends. And I don't like his personality. So I'm not going to be friends with them. I was like, go ahead. Go ahead, Florian. Because this guy was coming in hot with no respect. No, like, hey, I'm just getting to know you. I'm just meeting you for the first time. No, you're coming in like, listen, I'm going to tell you what to do. And I know everything. And again, who are you again, random, that we're just meeting? You know what? What did I say this was? Episode 5 of the 3rd season. We're just meeting you now when we could have met you season 2. We could have met you season 1. Oh, and before there was a spinoff, we could have met you on any of the before the 90 days, all the things, and we're now just meeting you. Stop playing. You guys are funny in the live chat. So Michael to camera says, are these guys legit? Well, how would you even know if they're legit? You haven't even given them an opportunity to get to know you, nor have you given yourself an opportunity to get to know them. So as he's coming in hot, he's telling them that they have to treat, so he's saying to Florian, you have to treat Stacey like there's no other woman in the world, and that she's the one, and she is the gift and the goddess and all the things. And I was like, well, again, they've been married for some time now. So where are you? And why would you have the audacity to come in after they've been married some time and tell this man, who obviously you don't know what's going on in their relationship, what he should and should not be doing? He's a grown-ass man. You are some random that he's never met, and then you're now going to tell him how he's supposed to be treating his wife? Crystal says he claims he's their brother. When? Did they adopt him as a family member? I mean, he's the pseudo, right? He's like the pseudo family member. He's appointed himself the brother from another mother. So anyways, the whole situation to me, I thought it was all uncomfortable. I thought it was really, really terrible. So Michael is demanding to talk to Georgie. He's demanding to talk to Florian. Georgie's like, hey, listen, if you need a one-on-one with me and you want some private time and want me to be free to talk, I'm free to talk on Tuesday between 3 and 4. And then he has this little smirk on his face. He's laughing. And then he's like, right now, I'm giving my time to everybody. But again, if you need a private time with me, then go ahead and schedule that in. We can definitely do coffee and talk. Then Michael's like, well, some of the shit that I've been hearing about you is not cool with me, bro. It's just not cool. The money in the socks, the credit card debt, whatever the F is going on, it's not cool, bro. Georgie's like, chill out. Just chill out. You don't know me. You can't judge me. And here's the thing, okay? Michael came in hot and he was aggressive with his words. And he was like putting both Georgie and Florian on blast. But here's the part that I hated the most, you guys. The most. What I hated the most is that Darcey and Stacey sat there silent and let it go on. Now, I don't know about y'all. But what I know is that if I'm in a relationship with someone, especially if I'm married to them, then that's your person. And I know I talk about this all the time, but it's 2 pillars. It's you guys against the world. And if someone was putting me on blast and my partner just stayed silent, that would speak volumes to me. So for the simple fact that both of these women have been in these relationships for over a year, they let this rando come in. And yes, it's their brother, it's their long-term friend, all the things that we've not heard or seen before. I'll give them that. But you need to stand up. If someone is talking crazy about your partner, you need to stand up and tone it down and make sure that this situation doesn't get out of control. I thought it was very just terrible. Like, I don't know if I could be with someone who doesn't stick up for me at all. Just lets people trash me. And here's the other thing. I feel like Darcey and Stacey put their business to the streets too much. They tell everyone, all the friends, the family, everyone about their problems. Oh, this problem, this problem. Georgie did this. Florian did this. Georgie is not working. Georgie. You knew who these men were when you got with them. And instead of trying to communicate with your partner, you're telling all your business in the streets. So guess what? Y'all belong to the streets as far as I'm concerned. And now you have this dude who has specific opinions on two men that he's never met before because you had verbal diarrhea and you wanted to say all the bad things about them, and then you're expecting your friend to come in and like them. You've set them up for failure. Yes. Olivia says, yes, Linda, no way should they have sat back. It was terrible. It was terrible. And political troll is like, why do they care so much about the sock thing? I'm not sure, because I think it's an immigrant thing. I think that immigrants have money in the house. I think that that's a thing. And even when I watch all like the true crime stuff, people who grew up in like the 60s, that's how they lived their lives. They stored money at their house because they didn't trust banks and all the things. So I don't think it's uncommon for people to hide money in their houses. I think nowadays people have safes. They have, they still have hiding places that they hide extra cash. I don't know what the big deal is. Maybe Darcey and Stacey is not something that they do, but I don't see why we're stuck on this either. Political troll. So that being said, I was definitely not impressed with Darcey nor Stacey. I didn't think they had either of their men's back. And again, I think that says a lot about their relationships. I think that when you talk about relationships and communication and why you think you have issues because it's clear that you can speak and communicate, because you communicate all the nasty stuff to all your friends and family, but you don't sit and communicate with your partners. And I think that shows a lot about where your situation and where your partnership is. It's quite terrible as far as I'm concerned. Anyways, Michael continues to be aggressive with his words. No one liked his attitude. And Georgie's like, he didn't come here to just have a good time. He's looking for problems and arguments, and he's being disrespectful. And Michael's making excuses now. He's like, well, these are things I just found out. And you just don't do that shit. And Georgie's like, you know what? I can do whatever the fuck I want. And he smirks. It's my life. Like, how dare you come to me and tell me how, credit card debt or money in a sock is your business? Because it's not. It's not his business. And also, it wasn't Darcey and Stacey's business to tell this guy about his finances. Like, if you're having an issue with your partner and his finances, go to your partner directly and ask him and talk about it. But to even take it back more than that, I always say that's a conversation you have before you get in a committed relationship. How do you deal with money? How do you see money? How do you spend money? How do you save money? All of those questions are important. And so for the fact that you didn't do that, that's not Georgie's fault. That's your fault for not having the conversation. And it's also your fault, Darcey, for telling everyone else your business. And again, I don't recall her sitting down, talking to Georgie directly and saying she has an issue with how he spends money. Do you guys remember that? Let me know, because I don't remember seeing that at all. Crystal says Darcey and Stacey's relationships are good when they feel good. It's all about how happy they feel, not their partners. Fall in line, Florian and Georgie. Facts. That's a straight fact right there. So, Michael continues to instigate the situation. Georgie and him get heated. He's like, you're making me want to come over there and take care of you real quick. And Georgie's like, come on, bring it. Come take care of me. What are you going to do? Color my hair blue? And then Darcey in the back, this is the only thing she says. She tells Georgie to relax. So can you imagine? You're the long-term boyfriend. The friend that you're just meeting for the first time is going off in your business about stuff that is none of his business. He's not in the relationship. And then your partner tells you to relax. Doesn't say a thing to Michael, but tells you to relax. I think it's kind of terrible. Georgie goes on to tell Michael that he talks bullshit. Michael's like, back the F up, bro. Now you're getting out of line. And Georgie's like, you know what? You came in, your energy was shit, your shit energy. And Florian stands up, and Florian actually backs Georgie up because no one at the table was backing Georgie up as Georgie was being attacked, as Florian was being attacked. And Florian backs Georgie up and he says, I swear to God, I'm here for you, my Georgie. No worries for nothing, Georgie. Just stop, he says. I got you. And I had so much respect for Florian in that moment because guess what? Whatever issues that the two of them have together, he knows like this is my dude. This is the guy that, my wife's sister is in a relationship with. We're going to have to interact all the time. We're kind of in similar situations. So yeah, I'm going to have your back. And who is this random coming at us? I'm going to have your back. Don't worry about it. I got you, he said. I got you, my Georgie. Stacey didn't say that. Darcey didn't say that. Florian stood up for his boy. And again, shows you and shows me the dynamics of their relationships. It's quite terrible. So you two would rather just sit back and let people talk crazy to your partners? Okay, got you. So then Darcey says to camera, Michael was coming off bad and wrong, but her nor Stacey stick up for their men, which is what I said. After blabbing all of this information to this guy, they stay silent. And in my notes, I'm like, what the fuck? And to camera, she feels a little bit like, oh, the situation's getting out of hand. But then you still didn't do anything about it. It's confusing. Yeah, that was funny. So when Georgie said, what are you going to do? Dye my hair blue was hilarious. Both him and Florian had a lot of great one-liners in this episode. So Georgie leaves. He's like, you know what? I don't need to prove anything to you, Michael. I'm tired of being always the bad guy. I've hit my limits. I'm done. Bye. And he walks away. Right. And listen, I may not agree with Georgie all the time. I may think that, he does need to get a job and all the things, but that's between him and Darcey. And I do think that Darcey sets him up for failure every single time. So instead of talking to her partner, instead of supporting her partner, she runs to everyone who he hasn't even met yet and sets him up for failure by saying how terrible he is. He's this, he's that, he doesn't have any money, he doesn't do this, he doesn't support me in this, and he doesn't communicate. Well, guess what, Darcey? You don't communicate either. That's what I'm finding out, is that you two equally have problems because you don't communicate to each other. And so, yes, Georgie, is not financially secure, but you knew that when you got with him, and you continue to allow him to, live for free. And until you have that conversation with him, that's on you too. I saw that Michael was trying to hide his bald spot with all that hair. Someone screenshotted it on Reddit. I actually did see it, and you can see it a lot. You guys, when they go on that alligator boat ride and he puts his head down, you see it right here. So I did catch that as well. So the next day, Darcey feels bad. She feels bad that it was drama instead of bonding time because this Miami trip was all supposed to be about family and bonding. And she feels like they're backtracking in the relationship. Absolutely. And she's 100% to blame on that. She's making bagels in the morning. Georgie comes out, he's not hungry. He's still upset about the night before. Darcey's like, do you want to talk about last night? And he's like, well, what do you want to talk about? I'm tired of being in a relationship with no one there, which was very telling. When you turn your back on me, I feel so lonely, which is what he's saying is that people come at me and attack me and you just don't do nothing about it. Yeah, it's like you turn your back on me and I have to stand for myself. And then he's like, this is not the first time with your friends. You do it in Connecticut, with your two besties over there. You do it with your dad over there. And now these friends and this family. And he's like, it's exhausting. And I was 100% in agreement with Georgie in that moment. Like, who are you? Right? And Darcey's like, I understand where he's coming from. She feels like she was stunned in the moment and, it was a failure on her end. But she says she doesn't like to be caught up in the middle of friendship versus relationship. Now, I want to talk about that a little bit, you guys, because friendships are absolutely important. But I think that when you're in a relationship, I think that there are certain things that you keep in your relationship. There are certain things that you address to your partner and your partner only. I think that every time you involve other people in your relationship, that's when you get so many different opinions and everyone has their opinion and everyone's in your relationship. And that really shouldn't be how it is, right? Because you chose to be with this person and then now you're setting that person up for failure every single time you talk shit about them. And then when you happen to forgive them, then what, everyone else is supposed to forgive them. And when you forget, but your friends haven't forgotten, and then, they bring up all the history, it's a mess. Like, I think that's basic relationship 101, that your relationship is your relationship. Now, am I saying never talk about your relationships with your close circle? That is not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you're talking about your relationships in your close circle, you also better be communicating with your partner. Because if you're not communicating with your partner, that will be the downfall of your relationship. Manny says, truth, Linda. She is never Team Georgie. So then, Darcey's like, I don't like getting caught up in, the middle of friendships versus relationships. And so she stayed quiet. And you guys, I sat back and I thought, if at any time we need Darcey's words of affirmation, all the words she just says randomly, that would have been the moment for her to like bring out the affirmation. Like, I'm peace and love and joy, and my relationship brings me happiness. And I vow to communicate more with my partner because I have my eye on the prize and I am joy and I am love and I am flowers and the universe and, good vibes only and sparkle and joy and love and peace, all that. You know how she does that where this is a bunch of like positive words? They're not quite sentences, they're just words. She could have absolutely done that in this moment. So instead of like not doing anything and not communicating, this is where, insert Darcey-isms, that would have been a perfect time. Instead, Georgie goes on to say, it's really disrespectful that first time meeting your friends, they hate me. And they hate me because you talk shit about me to your friends. And so why would they like me? They would hate me because they have only heard bad things about me. So you don't even give me an opportunity to make a first impression because you've already made that first impression before I even walk into the room. Facts. He's not wrong. Yes, Vanessa says, share the good things too so your friends don't just hear the bad. Exactly. And Olivia says, I don't think she's really into him. Otherwise, it wouldn't be so hard to do that. So Darcey says, sorry for not having your back. And Georgie's like, I hope this is the last time we're having this conversation, because I know that this is the last time I'm going to have this conversation with you. You need to trust me. And then Darcey does this weird thing, the trust fall. She's like, are you going to catch me? What? And he's like, what? Are you going to catch me? If I fall, are you going to catch me? Listen, Darcey, he wasn't saying literally. He was saying, trust me. I got your back, and I'll trust you to have my back. That's what he was saying. But then in the kitchen, all of a sudden, Darcey's like falling back, and he's catching her. And she's like, oh, you did catch me. I was like, did we completely just miss the moment? You're the woman of affirmations. You should know that this was an affirmation moment. Anyhow, Darcey and Stacey have the bright idea that they want Florian and Georgie to spend the day with Michael in the Everglades. And all I had to say is that was a terrible idea. It's a terrible idea. No one wants that. I was irritated watching them fight and all the noise. So, like, where was going to be the entertainment in that? Because even the fighting wasn't entertaining fighting. It was just, like, irritating. But Georgie's not excited, but he's going to do it for Darcey. Florian's not excited, but he's going to do it for Stacey. And so they go, and Florian and Georgie get there on time. Michael does not. So they start talking about how, perhaps they'll feed Michael to the Gators. So they're waiting on Michael. Meanwhile, it's the casting day for their fashion show, Miami Swim Week. And Stacey and Darcey's outfits, that's all I have to say. Like, they said, their words, quote, we're setting the vibe for the day. Now, don't get me wrong, they're beautiful, flowing, definitely Miami vibe. And Darcey said they had their resort wear vibe on, but like, you're not at a resort, and you weren't at a beach, you weren't at a hotel bar, you weren't at like the poolside, you were casting. But, I don't know. I just thought it was a lot. So they're doing the casting. They talk about House 11, how their company is their legacy. They want to leave the legacy to Aniko and Aspen. That's why Aniko and Aspen are helping with the casting. But they're also helping with the casting because Darcey and Stacey need to stay on budget, because remember, Papa Dukes with the money bags is not helping them with this situation. So they couldn't fly in their team from LA early, so that they're flying in the team just the day before. So they have to do more work than they normally do themselves. And to help, I guess, cut budget costs, everyone's in the fashion show. You're in the fashion show, and you're in the fashion show, and you're in the fashion show. So Darcey and Stacey are going to be in the fashion show. Aniko and Aspen are in the fashion show. Georgie, he wants to be a model / I don't know what. So he's going to be in the fashion show. And Florian, we already know, wants to be a model too. So he's going to be in the fashion show. So I guess it's a win-win for everyone. And then there was like, again, a lot of noise. Like everyone was like talking all at once. Darcey and Stacey were like, let's get our energy up. Let's like change the vibe in the room. Let's positive energy. All the stuff. Okay. So the models start coming in. Darcey and Stacey, they say for their models, they don't look for looks. They look for swag, personality, a sexy smile, owning their own worth. How do you quantify that when you're seeing someone for 5 minutes? But whatever. Lots of energy. They really are looking for what's inside. Have you ever heard that from a model casting? But okay. After seeing the models, and they were spraying stuff on the models, I don't know what was going on. Models were walking, the models had the swimsuits on, and I don't know, it was not like any casting that I've ever been to or I've ever seen, but whatever works for them. Aspen is also walking in the fashion show. So, they want to see her walk, but she felt a little intimidated after seeing, the professional models audition. So I was like, Aspen, if you don't want to do it, just don't do it. But just like, don't feel pressure to do something you don't want to do, because I feel like Aspen and Aniko really have their heads on their shoulder. And so I'm just hoping that they don't have to buy into anything that they really don't want to buy into. So that's all happening. Casting's over. They pick their models, I suppose, whatever. And then it's Georgie and Florian. They're not really feeling like hanging out with Michael, the blue haircut guy, because he really, effed up everything on their trip. He acts terrible. He was aggressive. They really don't want to be there. And they're like, if he acts nice, then we'll act nice. And, if he acts bad, we'll act bad. And then Georgie throws in, as well as, if he acts bad, I'll just feed him to the crocodiles. Michael shows up, and, the other day, he had that plastic chain. Today, he had another pink plastic chain. I was like, how many of those chains? Like a chain link fence. That's what, but it was pink. How many of the, where did you even get those? Is that your, because he's in fashion, right? Isn't that what we heard, that he's like some fashion dude? Is that his fashion? I have to look him up because I was very confused. Anyways, he shows up, and it was clear that no one wants to be there. And no one wants to spend the day together. All of their faces were just looking at each other like, we can't believe we're here. It's a weird, awkward silence. And finally, the guy comes to take them on this crocodile tour. And meanwhile, we find out that Florian's like, Stacey thinks that I can make Georgie and Michael be friends, but that is not my job to help Michael and Georgie get along. I don't like him. Hilarious. So they're sitting there. It's all quiet, awkward. Even the driver guy, he was awkward. It was all very awkward. I'm like, what am I watching right now? Anyhow, Georgie is pissed because, the night before, he didn't like how Michael was coming in hot. And so he makes this joke. He's like, don't come in hot because I'm like an alligator. I'll bite. And then Michael, super passive aggressive, says, well, I'm like a super gator. I'm like the brother gator, and I protect my sisters. And I know that some people take their relationships for granted. And I was like, this little passive aggressive thing that you and Georgie doing, just stop. Just stop. It's stupid. Meanwhile, Florian's on his phone because he's bored and it's awkward. He asked the guy, where are the alligators? And then the guy's like, well, we all have to sit quiet and listen in silence. So then there's a bunch of silence, you guys, a bunch of silence. And it was awkward. I'm looking at all three of them like, oh, this is weird. Right? That was weird. It was a longer silence. Finally, Michael's like, bros, let's just get past this for the girls. Let's humble ourselves. Florian's looking him dead in his face, and he still has sunglasses on. Florian with no expression on his face. He's like, take the glasses off. Michael takes his glasses off. And Florian's like, thank you. Why do I have this up here? Okay, hold on. There we go. And so Florian is like, you know what? He's looking at him dead in his face, no expression. And he's like, to be honest, I don't know you. You don't know me. So understand? I understand that you come in to protect your sister. But, they're different people now. And I was like, preach. Florian, preach. You came in like gangbusters thinking you know a bunch of stuff just because they were blabbermouths and they told you the problems that they were having in the relationships. But you don't know us. We don't know you. So you stay on your side of the fence. We'll stay on our side of the fence. Because these two women are different women than way back when you knew them. I was like, That's absolutely correct. Georgie's sitting there being quiet. He doesn't say anything. Finally, he's like, yeah, it's disrespectful for you to come in judging someone if you don't know them. And every relationship has their problems. And ours are in the past. And you just came in and you basically fucked up a situation. You made it messy. You wrecked our family trip. And it wasn't a good look, bro. Silence. Crickets. Michael's like, I respect that you said that, Georgie. Let's just go coexist. We don't have to be best friends, but, I'm willing to coexist for the girls. Both Georgie and Florian are just looking at him like, They agree to coexist, but, none of them were happy about it. And guaranteed, yeah, exactly, Florian's face, guaranteed, we're not seeing this dude again with them. They're done with this fool. Like, done. So that was the episode, you guys. It was quite the episode. Quite the episode. I always tell you guys about the extras. So I watched the extras, and a couple of things that I thought were interesting was the beach day. It was the hottest day of the year, apparently, in Miami. And so that's why the sun was so hot. And again, Shannon's kids gave their flip-flops to Darcey and Stacey, which I just thought was a really cool thing. Darcey and Stacey were super happy to see like the family bonding, which I thought was cool too, guys, because we never really get to see the extended family. And I always say a good storyline for these two would be diving deeper into their family storyline and getting their history. I think it would make it an even more entertaining show. Okay, guys, when Georgie was barbecuing at the beach that night, apparently he put the tongs. He put the tongs in the trash and then pulled them out of the trash. And everyone was super disgusted. They're like, oh my God, that's so nasty. You put the tongs in the garbage. Everyone lost their appetite. He was like, oh, no worries. I'll just put the tongs on the grill and like burn the trash, I guess, scent off of the tongs. But meanwhile, apparently he kept doing it. Like when he was pushing the garbage down in the garbage bin, he would use the tongs to do it. But then it's the same tongs that you're flipping the chicken over. So everyone lost their appetite. No one ate because of that. Which made me think, like, you never know, you guys, you never know what people do at their house. Like, when they invite you over, like, are they nasty like that? Like, you don't even know how your food is prepared because you don't know what people do. People do things and they don't think about it. I don't know. It was a lot. That just sounds so terrible to me. Especially on a public beach. You don't know what's in that trash. Anyhow, no one ate. Another behind the scenes things that you guys didn't know is that Darcey and Stacey showed the models their walk, as in like, this is how we want you to walk. They call it the silver slide. And basically they say it's a left foot, right foot, hip hop. Left foot, right foot, hip hop. And I was like, you should just leave the professional model walking to the professional models. But maybe they want a specific, walk for their house of I don't know. The other thing behind the scenes is that they saw no gators on the trip. So when they were on that boat, there were no alligators. Even if they sat there in silence, they didn't see any gators. But when they went back to the alligator refuge, they held baby alligators and took pictures with the baby alligators. Now, here's something that's interesting. Stacey says on this behind the scenes that Georgie was scared to pick one up and never picked one up and never like touched the alligators because he was too scared. But they show on the behind the scenes that Florian was like all into it. He held one, he kissed one. We saw all the pictures. But I went to Georgie's social media and lo and behold, he absolutely did hold one of these baby alligators. So what Stacey was saying again was just a bunch of hate. She's hating on Georgie and spreading lies. So that was it. Yeah, Linda. Hi, Linda. Hey, girl. Hey. It was good to see Georgie and Florian in the same side. Sad that Stacey and Darcey didn't have their backs. 100%. Mandy says, I bet they will make up, and he gives the change to Georgie and Florian. That would be hilarious. And that was the show, you guys. Next week, it's Fashion Week, Swim Week. We're going to find out what happens there. And what do we got going on tomorrow? Is Thursday. It's Thursday for my Patreon subscribers. We have our 11:30 cast interview. And then tomorrow night, I will be doing After the 90 Days, Lauren and Lexi, David and Annie. And on that note, you guys, thank you so much. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend. We are on, I am on a goal to have 5,000 subscribers by the end of April. So help me make that happen. Thanks for being here, you guys. Bye for now.